But if you look at October 7th, Hamas had no money because Iran wasn't able to pay them. Iran had no money. They were down, I had sanctions on them, tremendous sanctions. China wasn't buying oil. I told China, if you buy oil from them, you can't do business with the United States. They took a pass. They were down to nothing. Now they are up to a tremendous amount of money.
You think there's a deal there in Iran?
Yeah, I think we're going to make a deal in Iran. I would rather, okay, and there are a lot of people think that we are going to attack
or Israel
Iran,
with our blessing.
Or Israel, but Israel needs us. Everybody needs us. We have the weapons, we have the strength. We're very strong. I rebuilt our military. People forget, I rebuilt our military. Now, they shouldn't have given a lot to Afghanistan, which they did. They gave a lot. There was no reason for that. But we're very strong. We have things that nobody else has. So they need us. But everyone thinks Israel, with our help or our approval, will go in and bomb the hell out of them. I would prefer that not happen. I'd much rather see a deal with Iran where we can do a deal, supervised, check it, inspect it, and then blow it up, or just make sure that there's no more nuclear. That we just
a better deal than the Obama nuclear deal.
Well, that was the dumbest deal. By the way, that would have expired by now. That was a road to a nuclear weapon. It was a short-term deal. You can't make a deal with just a few years on it. That deal would be expired by now. Think of it. And they would have a legal right to have a nuclear weapon. You cannot allow Iran, or just about anybody else, by the way, but especially Iran, because they are very militant. I mean, they're very, very militant. You can't allow them to have a nuclear weapon. But there's two ways of stopping them, with bombs or with a written piece of paper. And I'd much rather do a deal that's not going to hurt them. And I think they wanted to. I think that Iran is very concerned. I think that Iran is very frightened, to be honest with you, because their defense is pretty much gone. Maybe they're trying to get new defense as we speak, meaning air defense. But their defense is largely gone. They've had some very bad moments. The whole thing with the pagers was a disaster for them, the pagers, you know what I'm talking about. It was a horrible thing, but it was, it knocked out a lot of leadership like nobody's ever seen before. But I think Iran is very nervous. I think they're scared. I think Iran would love to make a deal, and I would love to make a deal with them without bombing them.
So Iran, you think a deal's possible. China, you're saying maybe there's a deal possible? Have you talked to President Xi?
I think that China is so economic. It's so trade-based. And look, Biden allowed China to go crazy. And we have a deficit with China of over $1 trillion a year. Can you believe it? But with all of that said, China needs us because they take out so much money out of the United States. We're not going to let them take out the kind of money they're taking out now, but we're going to let them take out money, and they're going to do very well. And we want them. I happen to like him a lot, President Xi. Yes. I love talking to him.
Since the inauguration?
Yeah, and I've talked to him. And I talk to his people, too. His people come in all the time. We have a very good personal relationship. I don't want to sound foolish because...
Well, you had him here, Mar-a-Lago.
I had him here. I know him very well. I know him probably better than just about anybody in various parts of the world. I know Kim Jong-un from North Korea better than anybody. Most people never even will ever get to talk to him.
I was on that trip. I know. I remember it well.
You can attest to it.
I want to just hit on a couple other things. Yeah. You had Republican senators here at Mar-a-Lago. They're in kind of a back and forth with the House about the one big beautiful bill, the two bills.
But not much, Brett.
Has anybody figured it out? Have you decided?
The relationship is incredible. We had about 50 of them here last night for dinner at Mar-a-Lago. I think John Thune is doing a fantastic job, and I think that the Speaker, Mike Johnson's doing a fantastic job. I think Mike has even a harder job because he's got literally...
narrow majority.
Actually, it's probably 5 if you really think about it, but right now it's about 2 or 3 or something. That's pretty tight. And but there's great unity in both the House, and there's great unity. I'm in the House and the Senate. We have... Last night, I made a speech, and it was actually, I think, on television. I said, if the press wants to stay, I couldn't care less. I think it was probably on to a large extent. There was a great love and respect and unity in that room last night. And we had, I guess, close to 50 senators there. We had a couple couldn't make it for other reasons.
So you think the process doesn't matter? Eventually you're going to get there one way or another?
I believe we are. we have a very dangerous thing that was given to us, unfortunately, and very foolishly, called debt ceiling. And the debt ceiling, I call it 1929 because, you know, bad things can happen. It should be just psychological, but it's really probably more than that. We shouldn't have had it. It shouldn't have been ours. It should have been theirs, but somebody made a bad mistake, a stupid mistake, actually, and we inherited. But I can't imagine the Democrats don't want to take care of the debt ceiling, because that's, it could be an explosion, the likes of which we've never seen. And I just don't think that's going to happen. I think it's very important that we do the tax bill, and I can't see the Democrats giving people the largest tax increase in history. So we have to extend it and I think make it better, make it even more productive. You know, we can do things that we did even better than we did during the Trump tax breaks.
And you want to raise defense spending?
We want to raise defense spending. I think we have to have it. One of the reasons I can speak with authority is we really do have amazing military, but they're also getting bigger. One of the things I'll be doing with President Xi and with Putin and everybody else is saying, let's ease up on all this, you know, building all of this, you know, the bombs. We're talking about massive amounts of money, $900 billion. You know, it's interesting. Russia was spending about $57 billion prior to the war, and China about $200 billion. We were about $715. So we always spent more. Doesn't mean we got better. We have better equipment than anybody else. Nobody has even close to us. It's crazy to spend the money on things that hopefully aren't going to be used.
I mean, the tough part is that if you don't want to cut entitlements and you do want to add to defense spending and you want to eliminate taxes on tips and you want to make the 2017 tax cuts permanent,
yeah,
that's a lot of money.
But we're going to take in tremendous amounts of money on tariffs. We're going to have tariffs. We're going to take in tremendous amounts of money.
And you think Doge is going to make up some difference?
Not Doge. Well, Doge is going to make up a lot, but that's unrelated to tariffs. It's not fair that other countries have really taken advantage of us, and it's our leader's fault, but I'm a different leader. It's not fair that other countries have taken advantage of us for so many years, and now all of a sudden we're not allowed to have tariffs, but they've had tariffs for years. You know, they've done this to us for years, and we haven't. And I think reciprocal tariffs, I'll be talking about it. I think probably on Monday or Tuesday I'll have a whole big thing. We have a very sophisticated plan. I want to have tariffs separately from that on steel, on autos, on semiconductors and chips, and probably pharmaceuticals.
And you're not worried that any of that's going to go back to the consumer?
It might, but it's ultimately going to be much less expensive. I'll give you an example. The so-called fat drug or fat shot, whatever it's called, Ozempic or Mounjaro. In London, you get it for $88. In New York, you get it for $1,200. You can't even buy it. It's very unfair. The identical package made in the same factory, shipped to different places, but made literally in the same factory. In London, it's $88, and in New York, it's $1,200, and you can't get it. And the reason is because everything's added on to the United States because the United States has been too nice. You know, I had transparency done, and Biden canceled it. Transparency would have solved that problem. But I'm going to solve it one way or the other, including, you know, they have a certain thing like rent control in New York, and I don't like that. But at some point, nobody's going to, it's not fair that other countries, you go to Canada, all of the drugs are much less expensive. I suggested that some of the governors should go buy their drugs in Canada and send them back to here. It's very simple. So I think we're going to do some amazing things, really amazing things.
Last thing, I mean, you have a lot of things on your plate that you're going to do, but right now...
Well, you know, one thing I did last night that's very powerful, really, the straw. They gave us a paper straw. It melts. It's horrible. They should make it in flavors because by the time you finish, it is so horrible. I ended the paper straw. We're going to go back to plastic.
That might be a 90-10 issue.
It's about a 99.
Because no one loves the
well, no, but I took it out.
Straw.